I'm Caitlin, a librarian at the Owings Mills branch of Baltimore County Public Library. There are tons of different ways to play games like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, and other tabletop RPGs. Some players love the rules, they want to play the game exactly as it's written, while other players are a bit more lenient and mainly just want a fun story. Sometimes this can translate into homebrewing, aka player-made material rather than official game material, although sometimes even homebrew can become official. Fans of Critical Role already know that Matt Mercer uses a lot of homebrew, and some of it has even been made official by Wizards of the Coast and added to sources like D&D Beyond. The Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition sourcebook, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, is the first Critical Role sourcebook published by Wizards of the Coast, but not the only. Wizards of the Coast also published an adventure based on Critical Role's homebrew called Critical Role: Call of the Netherdeep. Both of these Critical Role themed books and more can be found at Baltimore County Public Library. But how do you homebrew? Is there some secret formula to making a great setting with an even better story? Well, yes and no. There is no step-by-step guide you can use to homebrew your own game, but there are definitely some great resources you can check out. Writer's guides are a great resource for developing your story and world. You don't want to write an entire story from start to finish. Your players will help you develop that story as you play. Your job is to create a hook, something to get the players started on their adventure. Maybe it's a contract gone wrong, and now your players are in too deep, and they need to fight their way out of danger. Or maybe your players all get thrown together by some outside force and need to band together to prove their innocence. No matter what it is, the hook is the key component to starting off your campaign. I find writer's guides, specifically for sci-fi, fantasy, and mystery authors, to be more helpful for campaigns. For a sci-fi or heavy fantasy vibe, you'll want to try a writer's guide to speculative fiction. There's an entire section dedicated to developing your sci-fi or fantasy world. There are also some sections on plot and character development to help you have an idea of how to continue the story or create NPCs. How to write a mystery can help develop a mystery-focused story. One section, written by William Kent Kruger, helps you develop the setting for your mystery. Another, written by Deborah Crombie, is great for advice on developing your plot and bringing your different elements together. One way I really like to immerse my players in a new world I've created is by making a map. I know it sounds so simple, but it's honestly so effective. A bunch of fantasy authors also utilize this in their books. Authors like George R.R. Martin, Sarah J. Maas, and J.R.R. Tolkien include maps in their series to help readers visualize the worlds they've created. If you haven't, you should absolutely look at Game of Thrones, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and The Lord of the Rings to get a sense of how their maps impact your immersion in the story. A writer's map, an atlas of imaginary lands, is also a great read if you want to explore different maps in literature and their inspirations. You also don't want to forget to fill this new world that you've created. You'll need cities, towns, people, side stories, anything you might find in an official setting. If you're like me and struggle to make your NPCs feel alive, I recommend checking out The Writer's Guide to Character Traits. It's great for helping you develop unique personalities for important NPCs your players may run into. The book gives examples of behaviors for characters with different personality types, disorders, and even crimes. Decorating a room of one's own is not only a fun read, but can show you how to base rooms on their inhabitants. The book highlights different protagonists and their homes that they've lived in as if they were speaking to an interior designer. It really highlights their personalities and how they would want their space to look. If a large portion of your campaign is set in an NPC's room or home, this is a great book to read for inspiration and how to develop the space based on your NPC. I hope these tips inspire you to start your own homebrew campaign. Thanks for watching.